Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to dive deep into one of the most fascinating and unbelievable stories in the world of rare coins and valuable currency errors, and this time we are going to talk about the 2007 D1 cent coin, a penny that most people would dismiss as just another small piece of copper-plated zinc change in their pocket. But in fact, certain examples of this coin have shocked collectors, historians, and treasure hunters around the world by reaching values of up to $9 million due to the extraordinary errors, mistakes, and striking anomalies that occurred during their production, making them one of the rarest and most desirable pieces in the entire history of modern American coinage. And throughout this script we are going to unravel every detail, every possibility, and every reason why this penny, which originally cost just 1 cent to make and was released in the hundreds of millions, could suddenly transform into a multi-million-dollar artifact. So buckle up, because this journey is going to be long, engaging, and filled with insights that could even inspire you to check your own pocket change for that life-changing discovery. And the story begins with the Denver Mint in 2007, a year when billions of Lincoln cents were struck with the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Yet, as with any mass minting process, errors are bound to happen, and in extremely rare cases those errors are so significant and so unusual that they create a unique coin unlike any other, and these coins then attract immense attention from collectors, dealers, and auction houses, driving their price into the stratosphere. And in the case of the 2007 D1 cent, there were examples discovered with dramatic double dies where the inscriptions like Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and the date 2007 were clearly doubled, creating a shadowed effect that even the naked eye could detect. And such a doubling is one of the most popular types of minting errors sought after in the numismatic community. But that's not all, because other examples of the 2007 D penny showed off-center strikes where the design was not properly aligned on the planchet and resulted in a coin with missing parts of the image or lettering, sometimes as much as 50% off-center. And those off-center errors make the coin look so unusual that it immediately stands out as something that should not exist. And when you combine the off-center strike with a high-grade condition where the coin has no scratches or circulation marks, suddenly you have a piece that collectors will pay enormous amounts of money for. But beyond the well-known errors like double dies and off-center strikes, the 2007 D penny also produced rare wrong planchet errors where instead of being struck on the usual copper-plated zinc blank, it was struck on a blank meant for a dime or nickel or even a foreign coin. And these wrong planchet errors are breathtakingly rare, sometimes only 1 or 2 examples ever surfacing, and when that happens the value skyrockets because you are holding something that is not supposed to exist, a true accident of history, and collectors know they may never see another one again in their lifetime, which explains why a single example could sell for millions. And when people hear about a $9 million penny, they often wonder how a tiny copper piece could command such a staggering price. But the answer lies in the perfect storm of rarity, error type, condition, demand, and the story behind the coin. And the 2007 D penny with the most extreme errors represents precisely that perfect storm, because these coins are not just mistakes, they are windows into the mechanical and human imperfections of the minting process, telling stories about misalignments, die deterioration, and even moments when quality control slipped, leaving behind a hidden treasure for future generations to discover. And when we think about the possibilities, consider the broad strike errors where the coin is struck without the retaining collar and spreads out unnaturally wide and flat, creating a distorted yet fascinating piece that is immediately identifiable as something extraordinary. Or think about die cap errors where one coin sticks to the die and strikes subsequent coins, leaving a ghostly impression or a blurred mirror design that looks like a work of abstract art. And these too have been found among 2007 D cents, each one unique, each one commanding attention and value. And then there are the double denomination errors where a cent is mistakenly struck over an already existing coin of another denomination such as a dime, creating a mind-bending hybrid that is almost like a coin from another dimension. And these pieces are so incredibly rare that when they surface they ignite bidding wars at auctions with prices shooting into the millions. And the beauty of the 2007 D penny saga is that the sheer volume minted means countless possibilities for errors, yet the survival rate of such major mistakes is tiny, making each surviving specimen a once-in-a-lifetime find. And collectors know that once such a coin enters a private collection it may not reappear on the market for decades, adding to the aura of exclusivity and value. And it's also fascinating to note that condition plays a massive role, because a 2007 penny with an error that circulated heavily might only bring hundreds or thousands. But the same error in pristine mint state condition graded by a top service like PCGS or NGC could jump into the millions, and when one such flawless error surfaced it stunned the world by selling for $9 million, cementing the 2007 Pennies' place among the legends of modern coin collecting. And as we expand on the possibilities we must mention clipped planchet errors where a small curved section of the coin is missing due to a misfeed in the blanking press, and these give the coin a crescent-shaped bite that immediately attracts attention, or multiple strike errors where the coin was struck more than once but not in the exact same alignment, resulting in overlapping images that almost look like optical illusions, and such coins are rare marvels that push values higher and higher, and while it may sound unbelievable that a penny could be worth more than a luxury house or a sports car, the reality is that collectors are driven by passion, rarity, and the desire to own something no one else can. And in the case of the 2007 cent with the most dramatic and perfect error, $9 million was the price someone was willing to pay to secure their place in history, and this tells us that hidden treasures can truly be anywhere, perhaps even in a jar of change sitting in your kitchen, and that's the magic of coin collecting. The possibility that any ordinary day could turn extraordinary when you stumble across that 1 in a billion mistake, and the 2007 penny story continues to inspire people worldwide to look more closely at their coins, to learn about double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchets, broad strikes, die caps, multiple strikes, clipped planchets, double denominations, and more, because knowledge is power in the world of numismatics, and the more you know the greater your chances of spotting something others might overlook, and so the legend of the 2007 1 cent lives on, not just as a $9 million artifact but as a symbol of possibility, luck, and the incredible stories hidden in the smallest corners of our lives, and as we reflect on this journey we realize that what makes the coin so valuable is not just the metal it is made of, nor even the error itself, but the human desire to connect with history, to own a tangible piece of chance and imperfection, and to celebrate the beauty of rarity, and that is why the 2007 penny remains one of the most captivating topics in the numismatic world, a penny that became a multi-million-dollar treasure, a mistake that became a miracle, and a story that continues to inspire generations of collectors and dreamers alike. Last 2006 1 cent coin, everyone to our channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable stories from the world of numismatics, and today we are going to explore one of the most talked about and incredibly valuable modern-era pennies. The 2006 1 cent coin that has shocked collectors and enthusiasts with some examples selling for astonishing figures reaching up to $9 million, yes you heard that right, $9 million for a coin that in its normal state is worth just a single cent but becomes priceless when it carries rare minting errors, historical significance, and unique mistakes that transform it into a collector's dream. So stay with me as we unravel everything about this coin, why it is so sought after, the types of errors that make it so valuable, and the endless possibilities that have captured the imagination of both beginner collectors and seasoned investors alike, because when we talk about the 2006 penny we are not just talking about a simple piece of copper-plated zinc minted by the billions but a piece of American history, a coin that has lived through the final years of the Lincoln Memorial reverse design before the big change in 2009. A coin struck at different mints across the country but also a coin that carries a mysterious allure due to the wide variety of mistakes and blunders that slipped through the strict quality controls of the U.S. Mint, and that's exactly why the story of the 2006 penny is so captivating, because while most of these coins look ordinary and circulate unnoticed, a very tiny fraction contain double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, missing letters, clipped planchets, transitional errors, and die cracks that skyrocket their value into the millions, and the rarest of them all have already set unimaginable auction records that stunned the world. So let's break down everything and explore in detail why the 2006 1 cent coin has become such a treasure, beginning with the double die errors, which are among the most famous and desirable mistakes in coin collecting, because when a coin is struck from a die that was misaligned or hubbed twice at slightly different angles the result is noticeable doubling of design elements, and in 2006 some pennies display very strong doubling on the obverse especially in the words Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 2006 itself, with collectors paying tens of thousands just for moderate doubling, and millions for dramatic examples, And then we also have repunched mint marks where the small letter indicating the mint such as D for Denver or P for Philadelphia shows signs of being stamped more than once in slightly different positions, a subtle detail but one that collectors hunt obsessively. And in certain 2006 pennies these repunched mint marks are so distinct that they create a sense of rarity which drives up the price to extraordinary levels, but doubling and repunching are just the beginning because some of the most eye-catching 2006 penny errors are the off-center strikes, where the design is not properly centered on the blank planchet and part of the design is missing, with some extreme cases showing more than 50% off-center while still retaining a full visible date. And it is precisely those coins that cross into the $1 million range because their rarity combined with aesthetic appeal makes them irresistible to collectors who are willing to pay huge sums, and when we talk about broad strikes the fascination only grows, because a broad strike error occurs when a coin is struck outside the retaining collar causing it to spread out larger than normal, and 2006 pennies with broad strike errors appear warped and stretched while still showing all design details, a visual oddity that turns an ordinary penny into a unique piece of art worth thousands. And then there are die cracks and cuts, where flaws in the die used to strike the coin leave raised lines or blobs of extra metal on the coin's surface, and some 2006 pennies display dramatic die cracks across Lincoln's portrait or giant cuts that obscure parts of the lettering, giving each coin an unrepeatable fingerprint that makes it rare, and in the world of collectors uniqueness equals value, and value equals desirability. And desirability translates into fierce bidding wars at auctions where wealthy investors drive up prices into the millions, and perhaps the most legendary errors are the transitional planchet mistakes where a 2006 penny might have been accidentally struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or even for a different year's composition, and while most 2006 pennies are made from copper-plated zinc, there are rumors and confirmed cases of some being struck on leftover copper planchets from earlier decades or even on dime planchets, creating dramatic size and weight differences that immediately alert experts to their rarity, and these transitional errors are considered holy grails of coin collecting, often fetching multi-million-dollar figures, and when you combine all of these possibilities, doubled dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, die breaks, cuts, repunched mint marks, transitional errors, you begin to see why the 2006 penny can leap from pocket change to a $9 million treasure. But let's not forget the historical context that also adds to its value, because 2006 came during a period of transition in U.S. coinage, when collectors were already buzzing with excitement about the upcoming 2009 bicentennial redesign of the Lincoln cent, so coins from the few years leading up to that change gained additional attention, and any errors from those years became even more important to collectors who saw them as markers of a changing era. And another fascinating point is the sheer number of 2006 pennies produced, which makes finding an error like discovering a needle in a haystack, since billions were minted, so the chances of stumbling upon one of the rare mistakes are incredibly slim, and that scarcity is exactly why they command such high premiums, and when you add in the fact that condition plays a massive role, with uncirculated examples in mint state fetching higher prices than circulated ones, it becomes clear why coin enthusiasts hunt tirelessly for them in rolls, boxes, and circulation hoping to hit the jackpot. And stories have circulated about ordinary people finding one of these rare pennies in their loose change and ending up selling it at auction for life-changing sums, which adds an element of excitement and hope for everyone who checks their coins carefully, because you never know when a fortune might be hiding in your pocket, and in fact, the allure of the 2006 penny goes beyond numismatics into cultural fascination because it represents the dream that something so small and overlooked can turn out to be incredibly valuable, reminding us that treasures are hidden in plain sight. And that's why every collector, investor, and even casual hobbyist remains captivated by this story, and when we look at auction results we see a clear pattern, with the most dramatic error varieties breaking records, sometimes selling for hundreds of thousands and in a few famous cases reaching into the multi-million-dollar range, culminating in the ultimate headline that a single 2006 penny was valued at $9 million because of its extreme rarity and pristine condition combined with a perfect storm of desirable error features, a one-of-a-kind specimen that embodies the pinnacle of coin collecting. And when we think about that, it's no wonder that people all around the world now search their 2006 pennies hoping to find one of these wonders, because while billions of ordinary examples exist, it only takes one extraordinary piece to change a life forever, and so whether it's doubled dies, misaligned dies, clipped planchets, transitional strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, or any other error. The magic of the 2006 penny lies in the fact that it teaches us to look closer, to value the overlooked, and to dream big, because who could have imagined that a single cent could be worth $9 million, yet here we are with proof that in the world of numismatics anything is possible. And with that, I want to remind everyone watching to always keep an eye on your pocket change. Always check those dates and details, because the next great treasure might just be sitting right in your hand waiting to be discovered.